What's up YouTube, Freight Hero here. I'm gonna deck profile my Gear Chronicle deck. It's more of the time leap build. It's gone through some changes. It was modeled after the Japanese lists that have been topping, but then I kept tweaking it based on my locals and just how I felt about the deck. So we're running TikTok Worker as a starter because it is more utility than Chrono Dran. Sure, you have the arguably better build with just the Chrono Dran abuse and swinging quite a lot with the combos, and you'll never run out of stride fodder theoretically because of the Chrono Dran skill. But yeah, this lets you attack extend through other means and net you pluses in other ways. So that's why he's there. I'll explain a little later what you do with it. Trigger lineup is standard for the most part. 4 heal, 4 Chrono Jet crit, 4 of any other random crit. I like 1 of each. 3 draws and 1 stand. The stand is comboed with Time Leap. So when it's bound by the effect of a card, of your card, you can pay the cost, put it to the bottom of your deck, draw 2, and shuffle 1 card from your hand back into the deck, so it can shuffle back like your triggers and stuff that you might want to trigger later. Like if you, like in this format, since there's no G Guardians, you can send back your heals. Since Ururu is best G Guardian right now. So grade 1s, 4 PGGs to unflip, 4 stride fodders, because this deck strides a lot, 2 melons. This is where things get a little different than most builds, but what's cool is you can combo melon with the starter. This also works with upstream. So on a Metallica Phoenix, Heavy Metal Phoenix turn, you just swing with melon, skill, and then at the end of battle you use skill of starter. You you time leap this unit and call a grade 2, depending on what you need in that situation. And then her skill still continues to resolve, so you can call out the stand trigger, and then you use the either a History Maker or the Metallica Phoenix to time leap the trigger, the grade 0, and you can proceed to do fun stuff with that. And continuing with grade 1s, we have 1 GG, because, you know, the Soul Blast 2 to draw is pretty cool. And you can kind of combo it if you want. It's going to be a lot better when you don't have to worry about decking out with Ururu G Guardian. And this is where it gets a little different. Japan usually runs like 3 Itanas for the +5s. I don't know how I felt about that, and I also wanted options because the way I see Time Leap is its own version of a toolbox, because you can more or less call out any unit you need for a given situation. So then I don't want to go into the names, but this is the one that when it's bound, you give a unit, or you choose one of your opponent's rear guards that are grade 1 or lower and send it back to their deck, which is cool because board control, because this gives +5, the Itana. So that just hits for better lanes, and this one does board control. It's just options, because you can usually tutor out whichever one you need at the time, unless you damage one, which is, you know, always possible. And I run 1 Chrono Jet on Flipper. This I just added in the other day because I'm like, I really have to manage my counterblasts, and this card actually is kind of neat because it can combo with other units that can do on-call spins or whatever you want to call them. So you can get your unflips that way, since you run out of counterblast pretty easily in this build. Grade 2s. Running 3 History Maker. He's really good because he just triggers your time leaps in the battle phase. And it's just attack extensions really, which is really cool. The only thing about time leap is you really got to pay attention to what you're doing because you could accidentally mess things up. But yeah, 3 upstreams. I'm trying out 3. I might drop it to 2. He just, like Melem, he can swing for nice numbers, and then he calls grade 1 rested, so like your GGs or your Unflipper or one of the units you use to bind on with skills on bind. Whatever you need in that matchup or situation, you can just tutor it out with upstream after hitting, and then you can actually combo it with like the 4K triggers where you can have the 4K trigger behind it and you're still hitting 17s, which is really cool. Continuing on, we're running 2 Caliburn. Basically he's there to send back starters, but he can also trigger your unflip unflip grade 1 and get rid of a problem rear guard. It's really awkward though because he is mandatory. So like I've sent back a Chitara only to get a Rising Phoenix in my face, and that extra card actually kept him alive. It's kind of sad, but I used it to get rid of his other Chitara because I could swing at it. It was just kind of sad. There's awkward things with that card. I used to run it at 3, same with Relic Master. It's there for the same reason as that, really, to get rid of starters or just problem units. If they rush you, you just counterblast 2 -1 of their cards. It's really unfortunate that we don't have a better early game, but this is as good as it gets right now. So until they give us a less costly way of doing things without GB, we're stuck doing that. And like I said, I did run 3 3s of those cards, so I've decided to try things out. I'm trying out one 12K attacker because what I've noticed is a lot of times when I time leap, I have to make really awkward lanes because of these units, these 9s and 8s, because if you time leap into this and you use his skill, you won't get back the grade 1 because he's no longer going back to the deck. Same with Melon. So you gotta be careful about that if you don't want to lose card advantage that way. So that's why you can't use it to hit numbers and then, you know, still get your unit back and change it to grade 1. It doesn't work that way. So this is why this is here, because I can just time leap into this and still hit for 12s. And it combos nice with the 5K thing, so it could swing 17 by itself unboosted. And then one Glimmer Breath, it still works. Like, even if they don't have a field, you can still counterblast Soul Blast to get to come 11. Just not the best, but it'll still hit for numbers. The 12K also hits with the 4K triggers to make 16 lanes. This unfortunately can only make 15s with those, but if you use the bind +5, it's still 16. So, you know, it's got its utility, and then nice on-call spot removal at GB. And you can also time leap into it, you know, and just do cool stuff that way too. Because it's less costly, well, I guess evenly costed with different ways to pay cost with Relic Master, because Relic Master is CB2 and this is CB1 with the Soul Blast one. Usually only use 1 or 2 of your soul for the GG at any point in the game, really. So that's that. Grade 3s should be pretty standard. 4 Chrono Jet. I'm running 3 Bale. Because Balin's just basically another Chrono Jet, but you don't really want to have to use the counterblast on him. It's preferable to get Chrono Jet, but you know, stuff happens. And there's only 7 grade 3s because there's more room for the 2s, because the 2s are kind of important for the sake of the early game and having enough room to make sure you don't suffer your mid to late game with GB also. So G-Zone, this could be at 2, Metallica Phoenix, Heavy Metal Phoenix. He's usually your first ride. Basically, he's there to just get your combos off, attack extensions, and just getting units you might need at the time. There's a lot of fun things you can do with this. It's kind of hard to explain, but you'll get a feel for it if you start playing the deck more, because you'll see the combos, like I mentioned, with like the Melem and the starter, and then time leaping the trigger into another grade 1 and fun stuff like that. So this is just unflip fodder, really. This is arguably where the second Metallica Phoenix goes, but I run Mystery Flare because I'm cool, and unfortunately for fun, I've gotten it off for the first time in my life yesterday. Thanks, Colin. It actually was kind of funny because Off Topic Games recorded the top 8, and I was the featured match for first round of top 8, so I got to play against Revengers, and you can see this Mystery Flare kinda do something. It doesn't get its skill off, but just wait and see how much value I get out of that Mystery Flare. And then one Fate Rider. Fate Rider is there because it's kind of a time leap unit. It'll tutor out any grade you might need. It can send back a trigger even if you need be. Like if you get a draw trigger in your hand and you just send it back to your deck, call any grade 1 you might need because tutoring is great. And then he can actually make nice power lanes too at late game. After a couple next stage, or if you go through all your next stages and you still have strides, then you can go to him and he can basically pump your field for +3s, which is really cool because for every face-up G unit, gets +3 to a unit on the field. One Fiery Met Colossus. I rarely use him. He's there for attempted guard manipulate, but it rarely ever comes down to me using him. I try to do it only if I know they don't have a certain grade in their hand, and then I'm pushing for game with that unit. Or if I really need to get rid of a problem card in their field, it kind of does that too. But yeah, that's just that card. And then of course we're running 4 next stages because it's arguably one of the better cards in the deck. It is the minus, but it's there for the huge pushes. It's really unfortunate when you have the next stage and they're only at 3. It's really best when they're at 4 to 5 because you just get so much out of them. But you do force a lot of no guards at 3 with next stage because they play greedy and want to save their guard for the GB2. Unfortunately, I'm not good at this game, so I don't double crit them when they're no guarding me at 3 on next stage. Never happened yet. But one day it will. And that should be the entire deck. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, thoughts, anything of the sort, leave comments down below. I'll check them out, respond to them when I can if I feel the need to. That's that. I'll catch you guys later.